Back when I, 18 male, was 8, my parents got a divorce. My mom and dad reached an agreement. She got the Labrador Retriever, and Dad got me. I hadn't seen her for nearly 10 years until she contacted me 2 months ago. She said she missed me, but was too ashamed of herself for the agreement to reach out. We reconnected, and I even introduced my girlfriend, 18, to her. I made a mistake, though. My girlfriend asked why I seemed so tense around my mom. I told her it was because I hadn't seen her in almost 10 years. She asked why, and I told her about the custody agreement. My girlfriend then called my mom. She, according to my mom's description, screamed for 5 minutes and called my mom a piece of crap. Then my mom told me I shouldn't have told my girlfriend that, and that I should have known it would lead to a great deal of embarrassment for my mom. Am I the idiot for telling my girlfriend that my mom chose the dog over me? LMAO, buddy. 10 years later? Of course your mom is contacting you again. The dog is dead. Not because she misses you. I doubt she's embarrassed. Oof. Tell your mom she should feel a great deal of embarrassment. Geez, I'm sorry. I hope your father was a great dad to make up for this crap. Your mom? Wow. Her embarrassment isn't your problem. She doesn't get to control your narrative and story. This is your story, and you can tell it to whomever you like. You're now aware that telling it to people can create some pretty visceral responses, so for your own sake, you might want to ponder who knows it. But your mom, she lost control of the story when she wasn't around to write a different version with you. She needs to deal with her embarrassment herself. Agree, you are not the idiot for confiding in your girlfriend, but the girlfriend way overstepped herself. She had no business making that call to your mom. What your mom did was awful, but it's between you and her whether you choose to have a relationship or forgive your mom and give her a chance to make amends. Your girlfriend needs to stay out of it. And if I were you, I would be very guarded about what I say to my girlfriend about anything in the future. Girlfriend is 18? Who has good boundaries or self-regulation when they're 18? I have a crappy dad that abandoned me emotionally and other things more than a decade ago. I wouldn't require my future partner to do this, but I wouldn't be mad if they did something like this. It shows that they care about me and can't bear the fact that somebody who should love me unconditionally hurt me. And if my dad tried to say something, I would shut him up because he dug his own grave. What is it your mom wanted you to do instead? Just lie? Dude, mom abandoned you at 8 years old. Call me petty, but I would never forgive that. The way your girlfriend reacted should have been your reaction. Ditch the newly found mom and keep the girlfriend. She cares more about you than your mom. And send mom a message with local rescue dogs to cushion the news. I, 25 female, have a niece, a young grammar schooler. I'm her godfather. She's the only kid in the family for now, so she's pretty spoiled. Her birthday party was last Saturday. My sister said my niece wanted a Disney-themed birthday, Encanto, so my sister asked me to dress up as one of the characters. We usually do this for my niece since she likes it, and it's fun. I said yes 3 weeks ago, so please keep that in mind. My wife, 25, is pregnant. She's 9 weeks along, but she's already having a lot of symptoms, and she doesn't feel great. She has a lot of nausea. Some smells get her very sick, and she's just feeling tired and moody since she's not getting a lot of sleep either. The day before the party, she had been sick most of the night, so we didn't sleep well. The party was at 2 p.m. My wife told me to go to the party because she could stay alone. She was tired and feeling quite needy, but she was mostly fine. No nausea at the moment. She was able to eat something and was a bit more comfortable, but I felt terribly leaving her alone, so I decided to stay with her so we could cuddle and rest. I texted my sister around 1:45 to let her know that I wasn't coming to the party. Now, I know my sister. I know that she and our family would have called me and sent me texts to try to get me to go, so my wife and I turned our phones off so we could have a peaceful nap. Just as I thought, hours later when I turned on my phone again, I had tons of calls and missed text. I read the text and it seems like at some point, My niece had a big tantrum because I wasn't there, because I promised her to go as one of the movie's characters and play with her and the kids. She refused to do anything and listen to her parents. So, long story short, they had to end the party early. My whole family is blaming me for ruining the party. My sister said I was an idiot because I promised her daughter to be there dressed up and then didn't even show up. I reminded her that I said yes 3 weeks ago, so a lot can change in those 3 weeks. I told them what my wife was going through and why I wanted to stay with her. They told me off and said that she, my wife, was somehow trying to get me away from them. They said that she's an adult and doesn't need to be pampered all the time. She could be alone for a couple of hours. I told them off for acting and talking like that about her and said that I could do whatever I wanted with my time. And I told my sister that if she had raised her daughter better, she wouldn't have made that scene. We had a big argument, which ended in insults. Now almost everyone is on their side rather than mine. Am I really wrong here? I feel like they're not trying to understand why I didn't go to the party. I'd rather have my wife feel great and go to the birthday party than this. They say that I'm acting selfish, but to me, they're the selfish ones. Am I the idiot for choosing my wife instead of my niece? You are the idiot. They're not trying to understand because you suddenly say you aren't coming 15 minutes beforehand and then shut off your phone. If someone does that before my kid's birthday, I'm gonna be really angry. If this was an adult birthday party, sure, no big deal. But to a young child, you said you would be there and then didn't even explain to her yourself why you wouldn't be there. And now everyone else has to deal with the fallout of it. They aren't being selfish, and I'm willing to bet you'll have a very different attitude when suddenly an adult is ducking out on an important event for your kid 15 minutes beforehand. You skipped the party for literally no reason at all. Your wife was completely fine. Even worse, you blamed her as your reason. Even in this post, now your family's all blaming her for your nonsensical choice. She told you to go. You were probably tired from waking up too. You should have just said that you were unwell and not thrown your wife under the bus. A pregnant wife is and should be a priority, but the rest of your life doesn't stop. But I'm choosing my pregnant wife instead of my niece. You chose a nap over your niece, not your pregnant wife. Your pregnant wife was completely fine during those hours and also napping. Dude, you owe your niece an apology and another one to your wife for throwing her under the bus. For background, I, nearly adult, am adopted. I have PTSD, and babies crying is a trigger that I've been working on for years. I kind of zone out and get ragey, not something good or fun. My older sister, 23, lives with our mom, as do I, and is unexpectedly pregnant. There were a lot of emotions involved initially, but she ultimately decided to keep the baby. She's now 6 months along. I was under the impression that she was going to move out, but she's decided that she won't, as it'll be easier to have our mom to help her. I'm naturally pretty upset. I don't want to share my space with a baby, but also, the ragey PTSD thing is exhausting for everyone. I basically told my mom that she makes sure the baby isn't living here, or I'm going to move to my dad's. He lives 3 states away. He's great and is pretty excited. He just works a lot, so mom never wanted me there in case I needed support or something, and he's busy. Mom is pretty torn and upset. My sister called me a selfish idiot. My cousin thinks I need to just wait it out. The baby's family, and it might not even cry that much. Members of my bio family think it'll be good exposure therapy, but I don't really believe them. Mom is trying to make it work, find a way for us both to stay. I refuse every option because it won't work. She wants me to at least try, but I refuse to. Even separately, I don't like kids. I don't want a kid in my stuff when it grows up. Still, my sister thinks I'm the worst. Mom is so distraught, it's almost concerning. And Dad has expressed some concern, but is overall happy. Am I the idiot? Edit. It's a formal diagnosis. I'm receiving treatment and therapy. Not the idiot. You have every right to go and live at your dad's house if your mom isn't going to be a comfortable space for you. You have PTSD and your problems to deal with. You aren't wrong for not wanting to live with a newborn when you have your father's house to stay at. You shouldn't make your mom choose, however. Just tell her that you're going to your dad's and why you're leaving. This. Your mom and your sister shouldn't be trying to force you to be around children, especially if they're a trigger for your PTSD. Your mom doesn't see that you could potentially be a danger to the baby, and the last thing you need as a sufferer of PTSD is a jail term when your mother's experiment goes wrong. And those saying that the baby might not even cry that much don't know babies at all. All babies are different. Parents can't guarantee that the baby won't cry out. You are the idiot, not for moving out, but for giving your mom an impossible ultimatum. What exactly do you expect her to do? Do you want her to kick out your pregnant sister? Or were you just trying to cause a rift? Did you want to get your mom to resent your sister and her child? You should have just gone to your dad's without saying, me or my pregnant sister. Bro, she's not an adult yet. If her mom has full custody, she kinda can't go live with her dad without permission. She legally cannot move 3 states away from her full custody parent without their knowledge. The mom would be within her right to take the father to court for kidnapping if she just got up and left in the middle of the night to move 3 states away. Also, your sister can go live with her boyfriend, who has his own place. I'm from Galicia, a region in Spain that speaks a language very similar to Portuguese, and my girlfriend is from Barcelona, which is in Catalonia. She speaks Catalan. We live in Madrid and study here at the university. Everyone in Spain speaks Spanish, except for foreigners, on a native level from education, media, and exposure. There's no such thing as a Spaniard who only speaks Basque, Catalan, or whatever, unless they're 90+ years old from some small village, and even then, they'd still know the basics of Castilian Spanish. I know I'm going to get some comments about this. Okay, so here's the conflict. People from Catalonia are often very nationalistic and will sometimes refuse to speak Castilian. I was in Valencia, and someone said, "Speak properly, speak Valencian," a dialect of Catalan, when I asked her for directions in Castilian Spanish. My girlfriend invited me over to her parents' house in Barcelona. They talked amongst themselves for a bit in Catalan. I understood maybe half or 2/3 of it. They greet me in Catalan, and I say in Castilian that I don't speak Catalan. I'm from Galicia. They say something in Catalan to each other, which I think was negative. We eat dinner. Her sisters and their husbands are there and discuss things in Castilian. They often say things to each other in Catalan, which I thought was rude, but I let it go. They kept switching to Catalan during our conversation, and I politely reminded them 5 times that I don't speak Catalan. They would go back to Castilian, but then switch back to Catalan. I go outside to take a breath of fresh air. My girlfriend joined me, and I asked her what the heck was her family's problem and why they kept excluding me from the conversation. She said that they hate speaking Castilian. I told her that's BS. I heard her dad speaking Castilian to someone in Peru during a Zoom meeting. He took a 30-minute Zoom call while I was there, and the mom was preparing food, and he never switched to Catalan. We joined back, and they started asking me my opinion about things. I responded. I asked them questions, and they just responded back in Catalan and responded to each other's responses to that in Catalan. And I just had enough and said, "I'm leaving now. The food was good, but I just can't stand the rudeness. I've told you so many times that I don't speak Catalan. I don't feel welcome, so I'm going. Goodbye." And the father says, "How rude. We prepared such a good meal for you, and you're leaving it unfinished? We spent hours on this." They made an entire goose and like 5 side dishes. I said, "I told you I don't speak Catalan. Why should I be here when you can't even respect me enough to speak in a common language? I never spoke to you in Galician, Portuguese, English, or Romanian. Screw you idiots." I grabbed my stuff and left. I had 15 missed calls from my girlfriend last night, and I stayed at a friend's parents' home nearby. We haven't talked in a day, and I don't know what to do now. Everyone's the idiot here. It sounds like your girlfriend didn't stand up for you, even after you politely reminded her family multiple times that you don't speak that language. You even spoke to her about this, and she still did nothing. She put you in a very awkward and uncomfortable position. She could have stood up for you and told her family to knock it off. Your outburst was very unbecoming of you. Just because they were rude to you didn't mean you had to be even ruder. Making a scene and stomping off like that wasn't the best option, and two wrongs don't make a right. You should have taken the high road or at least calmly mentioned in leaving that you were frustrated by them purposely speaking to you in a language you don't speak. Screw the high road. Stand up for yourself. OP's not the idiot. They were just flat out rude, deliberately so. Out of some parochial pride, they switch in the middle of a conversation with you to the local language they know you don't speak, rather than speaking the common tongue they know everyone present can speak and understand. You don't get to give someone the finger repeatedly and then get all offended when they aren't willing to put up with it anymore. Pal, you can stand up for yourself without cursing at your future in-laws the first time you meet them. OP, you are the idiot. I think you can refer to her as your ex-girlfriend. Let her find a Catalan boyfriend. Better for everyone. Responding to rudeness with more rudeness doesn't make you right. You went way over the top with your anger. You need to work on your anger issues. If you can't leave an argument without losing your temper and insulting people, this will negatively impact your whole career. My wife and I have 3 kids, 2 sons, 34 and 30, and a daughter, 26. As we had good careers, we were able to pay for all of their college tuition, which varied by year, degree, and university. The 3 were all about the same, with no big changes. Our 2 boys decided to get a degree and get to work. However, our daughter decided she'd do a postgraduate, and my wife and I have decided to pay for that as well. We've always valued education a lot, so we think that if we can help, there's no reason not to do so. Our 2 sons are upset over this news. They think that we're spoiling our girl. Both said that they all should get the same treatment. I told them that this is because their sister is choosing to pursue higher education than they did, so she should get more money. Our oldest said that that's unfair, and that instead of giving the money to our daughter, we could start a college fund for our grandkids. I told him that absolutely not, because their kids are their responsibility, just as my kids are mine. So I'd rather pay for my daughter than my grandkids. I'm not saying that because I don't love my grandkids. I love them with all my heart, but I don't think that my kids should count on me to pay for their stuff. My sons are upset. They're upset with me and my wife because we're paying for our daughter's college, and they're upset at me for my comment about their kids. They said that once again we're spoiling our golden children and that I'm picking favorites. Info. This needs more context. They said we're once again spoiling our golden children and I'm picking favorites. Once again means that this isn't the first time. What else has happened, OP? The first time I heard it was because as teenagers, the boys didn't buy as many clothes, as most boys do in my experience, while my girl was an ordinary teenage girl who liked going shopping with her friends regularly. Ever since, they've thrown it at us every time that they disagree with their sister on something. Liked going shopping is your way of saying you gave her money that you didn't give your sons, because they didn't ask, they didn't get it, but your baby girl asked for lots. So got lots. Clearly you think you're in the right, even when 2 of your children state otherwise. Interesting. You are the idiot. You need to consider this, and possibly give your sons the equivalent. If your daughter's seen as the golden child, there may be some truth to it. We don't always see it, but it would help if you looked objectively at this. University or higher ed is not the only pathway to a better future in life. And it's certainly not the only one that benefits from financial aid from parents. I don't know. I'm getting a different vibe here. It seems to me that OP has some serious money, so their children have always gotten whatever they wanted and are now acting like entitled, greedy brats. Fair does not mean equal, and life is not even always fair. It's your money, and you can spend it however you like. Your children are all grown-ups and can fund their own lives. OP's not the idiot. Their kids, their responsibilities.